Good morning vlog. It is Saturday, April 13th, a stormy and wet Saturday. A thunderstorm rolled in the morning, and it's just been raining for most of the morning now. As I'm up and about getting ready, I'm preparing some notes and doing a little bit of research on my own about in preparation for this long-term planning committee meeting that I have with my church this morning. So I'm excited for it, and I have some talking ideas in my mind right now. I kind of want to put them on paper so I don't forget them later, just to help address and see if I can get my point across on the hopeful mindset that that hopefully the committee can eventually understand and get into. It looks like from the notes and what I've seen so far, the issue that we'll be tackling right now is our church attendance situation. And this is just a trend that's happening for just about any religious organization in general as a whole, is that the attendance or people that identify as religious is on a downward trend. And I have some thoughts on why that may be, and that just stems into a more not only theological, philosophical discussion, but also a political discussion as well. So I'm not quite sure how I can tactfully navigate those waters without stepping on some toes or hurting some feelings. So I may have to do that, but maybe that's the hard truth that some people need to hear right now in order to have their, pardon the pun, in order to have their come to Jesus moment on why people are leaving the church. Because especially when you look at the stories with, say, for example, the Catholic Church and all the pedophilia stories that are happening out there with leaders in the Catholic Church and the potential cover-up and everything that's happening there, you can see why that is discouraging and a turnoff for people to that religion, especially when that religion is touting a message of confession, repentance, asking for forgiveness, and they're not even at the confession part, it seems like. So if you can see the hypocrisy there, and yeah, that's just kind of a reason why I or at least one good example I can think of why there's kind of this turnoff of religion and lower attendance, is because just the rampant hypocrisy that's happening inside of the church, inside of the various church bodies, that people within the church either do not recognize, or they recognize but fail to talk about, and they feel because they feel uncomfortable talking about it. Yeah, I feel uncomfortable talking about my shortfalls as well. I have committed a number of sins in the past, and I have prayed about it. I've talked with God about it, and I have faith that through Jesus Christ I'm forgiven, and I'm moving on, and I have no qualms with talking with anyone else bringing that up about me, any issues that I've had in the past, or sins that I may have committed, and I'll gladly talk that over with that person that wants to discuss it and have a better idea or more context to what was going through in my life at that time to cause me to act that way, and what has happened since then to put me on a different path. But I think that type of approach is not really being perceived with the church body as a whole. So we need to figure out how we as a church can get better at communicating that, and communicating with others who may not be of the church, and bring and kind of speak on their terms. Pastor Audie's doing a new series on the book of John for Messiah's Upper Room podcast that is really appropriate for this topic, because during the first session he was talking about how John needed to meet his potential audience where they were at, so and how they spoke, because John was trying to talk to a majority Greek population who had an entirely different philosophy and in an entirely different language as well, and so John had to find a new approach, not from a Christian or Jewish perspective, but from a Greek perspective on how he may be able to explain God and through Jesus Christ, and be able to break through that Greek philosophy in order to be a witness to them. So I think this is actually a really appropriate kind of discussion to be having at this committee meeting, and that Pastor Audie is now starting this new series on the book of John, because I don't know whether they coordinated this or what, but it seems very serendipitous that this is happening. So I'm going to get to work a little bit more on this, write down some notes, and then I have about an hour until I need to head out. So I'm going to work on that for a little bit longer, and then I'm going to head out to the committee meeting. I don't know if I can record it. I might record the audio just for like meeting minutes purposes, and I'll see if people are comfortable with that. But I probably won't release that audio, because that's going to be just internal church stuff that things that we discuss in there want to be, I guess we want to keep that in there for right now until we are able to formulate a better plan in order to before we start acting on it, I guess.
Whirlwind of a morning vlog. Golly, it was a torrential downpour. As you can see, it was like so wet. I got so soaked that I needed to change my outfit. But anyway, I'm actually back at my car, because right after this long-term planning committee meeting, I needed to hop over to another location, a restaurant, to have a little bit of a business meeting, a business planning meeting in a way, that is something that I'm incredibly excited about. Unfortunately, I can't really talk too much about it right now. We're still getting some documents drawn up and whatnot, and some other people involved, but I'm really excited by it. And I'm really looking forward to what's happening in the future with that. What I can talk about is with the long-term planning committee meeting that I had with my church. I think I made a really good impression on what I believe the church should be focusing on in terms of getting their name out there and building their online presence, because right now it is kind of abysmal, just for lack of a better word, or like an even more appropriate word. I mean, it's not that good. Like, just to be honest, we're not generating enough content. We're not engaging enough online for the content that we are generating. And I mean, like, just to be honest, we really need a dedicated person that can actually head up all these different social media accounts, like, that isn't part-time, full-time. I'm afraid what a lot of and this was some of the pushback that I got on the committee by some other members, was that we don't want to invest time where we're not going to see any return on investment, in a way, like, for lack of a better paraphrase, I guess. And the whole point of this is that you're not, unless you start and making all this content at scale, for using Gary Vee's term, if you're not making content for all these different platforms, you're not going to know what works and what doesn't. You're not going to know what 20% to focus on if you're not going 100%, 150% hard on the 80% that you're working with. So man, you geez, I need to find that 79-21 rule, the 79-21 video from Gary Vee. I'll note it down below, but that's the whole mentality that I'm taking at or that I need to start taking with Snapchat, with Instagram, with LinkedIn, with Facebook, with Twitter. Like, I need to go harder on Twitter. I mean, not on Twitter. I need to go harder on Instagram. I also need to go harder on Twitter. But I need to take all these videos that I'm doing from the vlog, and I've started to separate some out where I start going on some good rants, and I need to rehash it. I may be very much rehashing this right now and showing you on Instagram right now of what I'm doing to take the pillar content that I'm already creating on Snapchat and uploading to YouTube. I'm taking that pillar content, I'm rehashing it, reshaping it to put on Instagram, to share to you directly on Instagram. I have my captions down here below, so you don't even have to unmute me. You're just scrolling by and you're reading what I'm saying. I'm just going to rehash this to make it a minute long. You know what? I'm going to do it probably over the next week. I'm calling it right now, and I'm assigning this to you, future Phil. You hear that? You're doing this right now, right when you're listening to it. When you get this daily vlog and you're about to upload it, you need to save this aside and put this down as content that you are going to put into Instagram. All right, future Phil? I'm talking to you. Okay, now I'm done talking to future Phil. I'll be linking this later whenever I put it up on Instagram. I don't know whether I'm gonna put it as I don't know if there's like a rant Tuesday or something like that. I'll check to see what hashtags there are available, but that'll be my rant, and then that'll be the piece of content that I can refer to provide people as an example. But anyway, that's just a little taste of the kind of content that I want to impose and get people in the mindset of being able to create and start. I'm filming this right fracking now, just in my car, in the middle of a parking lot in the fracking rain. I mean, come on, it's not that hard to generate this stuff. It doesn't take that long to even make it and record it and put it on the record, and then you can rehash it and edit it later, put it up later. The point is, you document it, you document the creation process, and that's your pillar content. It doesn't all have to be perfect. It doesn't all have to be great. You let the people online decide what is great and what isn't. They'll let you know. So don't give me that stuff about, oh, we need to figure out what that 20% is. You figure out what that 20% is by putting going 100% hard at 80% of this stuff, and just throwing it out there. Start on as many platforms as you can. My top suggestions during the committee meeting were the biggest ones: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Those main three. Facebook for the community aspect, building a community there, engaging with the community there. Instagram because it's very visual, and you can attach a message to the post. You can put in hashtags as well to increase visibility. You can even do location-specific tagging, so anyone in the Dallas area, in the Plano area, will be able to see your post if they're going through the location area of Instagram. And then reverse it. You can look on anyone that has tagged posts as the location in Plano or in Dallas and interact with those people directly. You comment on their posts, and say if somebody's battling depression or whatever, or going through a tough time, being like, oh, hey, we're praying for you. We hope things get better. If you ever want to come by and talk, we are more than happy to help. We're this is where we are, and we're in Plano. And then they go to Messiah's Instagram page and they say, oh, well, here's their website. This is where they're located. Oh, I just might swing by there one time throughout the week. Or I might just go by there on Sunday and see what their service is like. That's how you do service and witnessing and outreach in this new world with social media and having an online digital presence. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm getting to. That's what I want to impart, the mentality that I want to bring to those that may still be confused and may not be using these platforms, or may think that there is really no value in these platforms at all. When I'm done with that little rant, I have another event that I need to get ready for tonight. So I need to go do some grocery shopping because I'm going to be cooking tonight. And I just need to really get that out before I went on, because I just don't want, felt really in the moment I needed to get this out and on the record, because just like Gary Vee, I would love to be historically correct on this. And the only way that I can do that is to show people what to do by doing it myself. And I can't advise anyone else on how to do stuff if I'm not doing it myself. I'm not going to be that hypocrite. So I'm showing you what's happening right now, and here we go. Let's go.
All right, vlog wrapping up for the evening. Had a wonderful dinner with a couple of friends. Got to catch up a little bit. Had some great talks, and now it's just wind down mode, because we got a pretty busy morning tomorrow going on at church, with our cantata happening for our late service, and we're doing a sound check a little earlier. So gotta be up and ready for that after I get the podcast up and running to record that latest session. But also from my rant earlier, I was just thinking that it's going to be a great entire meta piece of content, because eventually, once I do get that edited down and sent out on Instagram, and then later I can then post a blog article explaining how I'm using my macro content, my pillar content, and then able to repackage, reshape it for other platforms like YouTube, like Instagram, like Facebook, and then I can then link back to I did the recording on Snapchat, which then I exported to YouTube, and here's in the YouTube video that I uploaded on XYZ date, and here's where we started with the rant, and this is what I took out of it, and this is how I edited it, and then posted on Instagram, and here's a link to the Instagram posting. And then from there, it can all just be a giant meta piece of content showing how I did all this start to finish. So I'm really looking forward to that. I kind of want to go on other rants as well, so I can have respective platforms. So I'll do another one for Facebook. I'm not going to do it tonight. I'll do another one for Twitter. And so then that way I can show hey, this is the process. This is what you have to do right now, because we're not at the part in technology yet where we can automate that part quite yet. So we kind of have to do a little bit of a manual process. And yes, it's going to take some more time, but eventually, if you put out enough content, then you'll find what works, what doesn't, but you won't know until you start putting it out. But anyway, I just want to get those final thoughts on the record before calling it a night. I hope you had a great Saturday. I hope you crushed it today. I hope you have a great Sunday tomorrow, and I'll see you then.